Good Monday morning. It's January 10th, 2022. You're watching Finance and Technology Insights. I'm your host, Eric Buhrendorf, with my co-host, Brian Williams. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing just fine. How you doing?
Doing good. Sorry, I punted this morning. I think maybe we need to probably do a later recording. I'm just in a scramble, usually getting the kids off to school and getting oriented in the morning. You think that'll work for you?
Yeah, I could see that, man. Maybe if we do like an 11 to 12 kind of thing, and then maybe I can edit and post during lunch. I think that probably works.
Cool. How was your weekend? How was your last week?
Last week was pretty good. Over the weekend, let's see, we had actually planned to go up to see my mother on a Saturday. We're going to leave Saturday morning first thing. And then we looked at the weather yesterday and it didn't look great coming back. So she's north of Albany. She's about a little over 3 hours away. And it looked like the way it was coming, it would just, Sunday would have not been enjoyable. So since we have next week available and an extra day next week with it being a holiday on Monday. So we pushed it back a week, which is probably the right thing to do because it wasn't, I guess, too bad here in Connecticut, but there were some spots where it was pretty icy yesterday.
Yeah. How'd you do with the snow? We got about Connecticut, central Connecticut got about 7 inches of snow or so.
Yeah, so that was Thursday into Friday. We did all right. I mean, we knew it was going to kind of end midday, so luckily our plow guy came and he cleaned us out after it was all done, and he's just got a little Jeep thing so he can move it around. And then I went out and did the rest by hand, and yeah, it worked out fine. I know you've got a story to share on your new electric snowblower, so I'm sure we're all dying to hear about that.
Yeah, I was pretty excited. So for the viewers, over the last year, I've been converting all my yard tools, power tools, to electric. So we just got a new electric snowblower, 2-stage snowblower, and we got to test it out, and it worked great. It requires no warm up, no starting sequence, no oil, no gas. Just hit the button and turn it on when you want it on, and if you need to stop for any reason, you just turn off and it just stops, and no noise. The whole concept of idling is all gone, and it's just incredible. I still would recommend wearing ear protection, and I will wear ear protection, but I didn't this time, and I didn't think it was too bad. I think my Apple Watch was yelling at me a little bit, saying I was exceeding safe audio levels, but yeah, it's amazing. The electric conversion is well underway over here, and it's so funny. I don't even think that the normals really know it's coming. Although I do see a couple of my neighbors have they have a couple of them have the electric push mower, which we have as well for trimming and stuff. But yeah, in large part, a lot of people I see on Facebook responding to my post, my personal Facebook page, where a lot of raised eyebrows and surprise comments. So, but it was amazing.
You wouldn't think that snow blowing you need a little bit extra power, right? You'd think more than a mower. So we've been electric for a while. When we moved into our house, I said, all right, let's go electric, and let's see how long we could go without needing anything else like that. So yeah, we've done okay. I mean, with
wow, so you're already on electric.
Yeah, I mean, for outdoor kind of stuff. So we have a blower, which I have an issue with leaf blowers, and we could do a whole episode on leaf blowers, but we have one of those, and then our weed whacker and our mower are electric. So yeah, we've been in the Ryobi ecosystem for a while. Yeah. Yeah, and we like our mower. We looked at it like originally when we first moved in, we had somebody else cut the grass. But now that, once we had our kid and we were home a little bit more, and, we're exercising and going for a walk, and we're like, well, wait a minute, why am I getting up in the morning and walking for an hour on Saturday, and then somebody's coming to mow our lawn on Saturday? And it kind of clicks with you, when you're the day when you're on the treadmill in the basement and you're looking out the window and someone else is mowing your lawn, and then you're writing that person a check, it sort of dawns on you. So Yeah. So we've gone that route, and the it's as much about the noise pollution, honestly, as the air pollution. It's like if you're in a neighborhood on a Saturday or Sunday, it's like you can't escape it. And everybody's got these, and not many, I don't know. So I guess a lot of people still mow their own lawn, but it seems like on our street, everybody's coming in with the big ride on, stand on sort of things, these big industrial that were never really designed to clear, half an acre of somebody's yard, but they're coming in with these things, and it's loud. It's obnoxious. It's a lot.
So I decentralized our company in 2017. So that's when my work from home experience started. And that's one of the first things I noticed. It was, I think June 2017, I transitioned to working from home exclusively. First thing you notice is just the constant din every single day of some two-stroke engine or some engine rumbling and idling in the distance. And so you're spot on. And since my wife has started working from home during the pandemic, she's since gone back to the office. But one of her complaints was she was just flabbergasted. She's like, I cannot believe that every day somebody is doing something to their yard, to their chainsaw, a mower, a blower, or all three of them. And it's pretty funny. So the electric conversion, you're right. It's not just the air pollution, the noise pollution is definitely, I'm looking forward to seeing, the electric tools are not noiseless, but they are less noisy, and the time in which they operate is much, much smaller. So they're only making the noise when they're operating. And if you stop to check your phone, or you need to, do something, the noise just stops because the machine stops. A lot of the noise pollution from gas engines and things is filled with that kind of dead time of idling and just running, but that's cool that you're already migrated. So, I mean, you're
Yeah.
not, after knowing you this while, it's obvious that you're not what we would consider a normal anyways. You're obviously technology
Thank
centric.
you, I guess.
Well, we call normals, the non-techies, everybody who uses technology haphazardly, not intentionally, so to speak.
Yeah. And I guess you do think of that as technology, because it is a fast growing field, and it is pretty moving forward pretty aggressively, and like you said, probably faster than most people realize.
That's what's fascinating. The normals just don't seem to know, and I'm generalizing, right? There's some people who get the drift that things are changing, or like I said, some of my neighbors have electric mowers and blowers, so I don't think they necessarily think about what that means is happening, but
right, for sure. Yeah, and it came up a little bit last week with the big snowstorm in Virginia, right? So I don't know if you saw a couple of those columns that were like, well, good thing they weren't all in Teslas, they would have froze to death, because
you
you
saw
can't.
that.
Oh yeah, because you can't, at least with the gas powered cars, you can bring a can of gas and fill people up on the fly, and there isn't that mechanism yet for electric cars. So that is an issue. I mean, it's kind of a one-off of a one-off. I mean, what are the odds of being trapped in I still think the benefits outweigh the potential issues like that, but you will hear stuff like that.
So when that news was hitting and that event was occurring, I saw a post on our local West Hartford neighbors group. Somebody posted something not incendiary, but to say something to the effect of, what are the electric car owners doing in an event like this? And all the normals or naysayers were posting like, yeah, that, thank God they, there weren't, too many electric cars out there, blah, blah, blah. But one Tesla owner piped up and said, oh yeah, we would have just watched Netflix and stayed warm for the whole event and then drove home. And then it started this thread of, as it turns out, a Tesla, according to this poster. And then I actually ended up doing kind of a deeper dive. And then one of my YouTubers that I'm subscribed to, who has a Tesla, and his whole channel is all about operating and owning a Tesla, he saw that news, and he did a response video on how long his Tesla can run the heat at 70 degrees. And as it turns out, a Tesla can run in the cold weather keep the cabin at 70 degrees for days.
Wow, that's good to
So
know.
with plenty of juice to get out. And I think tow trucks are, this is anecdotal, so don't quote me necessarily, but it's obvious that tow trucks are going to be running with generators, and there's even a whole product line that's coming out of mobile battery supplies. And I don't know if you have any mobile battery charge or cell phone chargers or those mobile battery packs. They're just scale, there's already products that are out that are scaling those up. Blue Eddy is one of them that's really fascinating, that they're saying can replace, it's a suitcase sized battery that you can actually replace a whole home generator. If you have a power inlet box on your house and a generator, it can replace a whole home generator and run your house off a battery for a couple of days. So that same appliance can easily be carried out to the field, and it's not about topping off an electric car that might be stranded. All you got to do is give them a couple minutes of charge, and you can give them multiple or a dozen miles or so where they can then exit the freeway that they might be stranded on, or head down the road to the next charger. So it certainly was not a death sentence for the electric cars out there, at least not the Teslas.
No, I mean, obviously it all matters how much juice you had going into the event, right? I mean, if you're somebody who's low to begin with, and even
but no different for a gas vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Right. Yeah, right. They always, especially in the winter, don't let it go past half a tank, in case you get stranded, or in case there's an issue.
Yeah. So the Tesla owners out there, they were fine while they were watching Netflix and Hulu and playing video games on the 12-inch screen. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
I mean, not that the event was funny, so I'm sensitive to what everybody went through, but in the context of
sure you are.
How did the EVs fare anyways? But that's the technologist's take on it.
Yeah.
So what else is new? What else is going on in the news?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see what we had pinned to our Flipboard. So if you're new to the show or checking us out for the first time, we do have a Flipboard page, which is under the Finance and Technology Insights by Brian and Eric. And we have a link to that in our Facebook group of the same name. So from Tuesday to Sunday, Eric and I will flip stuff in there for others and for ourselves to review for each other. So let's see, is there any stories that you wanted to lead with?
Yeah, it's neither technology nor finance related, but I don't know how. I think you're around my age or not, but did you grow up watching Full House on Friday nights?
Oh, sure, of course.
Did you see the news about Bob Saget's passing?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you love him or hate him. It turns out I was shocked to hear. I never watched his stand-up, but apparently he's a stand-up comedian, and apparently his stand-up's pretty raunchy.
It is, yeah, very much so. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I've listened to a lot of his stuff. It's it's definitely not what you'd expect from Danny Tanner. That's for sure. That was a whole.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you remember, he was on Entourage for a while. He was a neighborhood of the guys. I don't know if you ever watched that show.
I never watched on it. I think Entourage was an HBO show. We didn't have HBO, I think, when that was big.
Yeah, but no, he's definitely not the Danny Tanner character. So whether that played into his demise or what was going on in that room or whatever, who knows? But he was definitely, what else? Trying to think of what else he was in. He's been in some other stuff lately here or there, but
I've only known him as Danny Tanner. He did he do Funniest Videos at one point? America's Funniest Videos?
Yeah, for sure. That was he was the first guy there. Yeah, he was the guy that kind of started that mail in your VHS tapes to the
yeah. So that's how he's epitomized in my mind. So when I saw that, I was like, Danny Tanner.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, that's sad. I didn't pin the article, but I do see it here on the headline. Looks like he has a couple daughters are in their mid-30s or so, and he was 65. So my father's 65, so that's kind of like, it's kind of yanked at the heartstrings a little bit. So
I know.
Rest in peace, Danny Tanner.
I know, right? Yeah. Sad to see.
So not to be insensitive, but one of the themes, it's funny, our shows seem to develop a theme. And I think last show I was chirping about businesses, law firms, professional services, or whatever, that send customer intake forms in the form of Word documents or PDF
Right.
via email. Um, and since then, one of the themes that I've been kind of obsessing over is how how incredibly necessary and important it is to have a robust website and kind of web and digital marketing presence. And I was thinking about this even before this article that I pinned from Inc. magazine. But it kind of occurred to me, and it's self-serving because my company provides this exact service. But from a business management point, it's if there are businesses out there that have traveling salespeople or a sales resource that is going to chamber of commerce meetings, trade shows, things of that nature. Even before I saw this article, I was thinking to myself, that not that you have to discontinue those efforts per se, but it's pretty clear that the return on investment, marketing investment, is significantly higher on digital channels. Having a robust social media presence and engagement, having a robust website that is purpose built to be a sales tool, having your SEO in order, having continually producing organic relevant content on your website, and something that we've been doing for our site and our company, and it's very effective, and it's something that it's a service we start providing our clients, and they're benefiting from that. But anyways, yeah, I'm kind of getting over the top about it lately. I'm just seeing how vitally important it is, because one of the things that I was down on is we have a trade show circuit that we go to as exhibitors, and COVID has put a wet blanket on that. And as out of necessity, you transition to the digital selling channel or the digital marketing channel, and you realize, wow, how really effective it is compared to pounding the pavement, so to speak. It's pretty fascinating. So Inc. magazine, I posted it this morning. The title of the article is "The COVID Effect: Why CEOs Must Adapt a Digital Marketing Mindset." And then a byline: 4 factors are shaping dramatic shift in buyer behavior, what the C-suite needs to do in response. They say the C-suite. I think this applies to every business, even if you're a solopreneur, small business. I'll just say, I'm going to summarize it real quick. There's four things that the author cites as what to do, and 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll just say the first one: shift to digital buying. Buyers are taking their shopping online and conducting far more research on their own prior to purchase. I think that trend's been coming anyways, but it's just certainly not going away, and it's kind of a mainstay now. Number 2, virtual selling replacing in person. This is kind of the piece that I'm talking about. The trade shows are valuable, but when and if you can't be doing the trade shows, virtual selling, whether you're doing your Zoom meeting or something alternative to face-to-face. Number 3, slower sales cycle. After initial periods of panic buying subsided, customers are more cautious and measured and less likely to take risks, creating a slower sales cycle. So I think I'm not sure what the relevance of that is. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm reading from the wrong list. That's the dramatic shifts in buyer behavior. The reimagined marketing sales strategies are going virtual, website is king, customer touch points like social media, and customer service. Sorry, I was rambling off the wrong list, but farther down the list, he says virtual is king, website is king, customer touch points, social media, that sort of thing, and then customer service. So anyways, interesting article.
Yeah, it is. And it's like so many other things. It's probably a combination of a little bit of everything, right? So even when you go to the trade show, the people you talk to there, what are they going to do? They're going to go home and check out your social media presence. They're going to look at your LinkedIn, and it is part of an ongoing process. It's not a one-time fix my website. They're going to look at your Facebook page, any groups, are they posting, are they adding value, are they consistent, was their last post from 2019, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely, you got to have a presence everywhere, and it's a mix of both. You're going to, even if you're doing live events or you're going to be somewhere, you still have to promote those online to get people to get there. So
yeah,
certainly
the
those.
marketing is a wheel with many spokes. So I totally speaking generally, and every business has its unique requirements and selling positions. So forgive me if I'm treading on the shoes of somebody's particular business model or known successful methodology. I totally sit here on high, speaking from my personal experience and the experience that I see for our clients. I think the takeaway is when you can't be in person, the digital is a up and coming and strong replacement if you're struggling to sell in the real.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously it depends on your product or service and where your audience is. If it doesn't matter if your clients are in San Diego or in Hartford, it doesn't really matter. But if you're, running a local ice cream stand or something like that, but you can still be digital. You can still be hyper local with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to make a case for it, I mean, if you're selling ice cream locally, you can still, I mean, you can sponsor baseball teams and soccer teams and things, but you can have you can build kind of a robust social engagement on your Facebook page, or TikTok we talked about a couple of weeks ago. It's there are digital channels to engage, even if it's hyper local. And that's something that can be done by a business in the comfort of their, the work from home environment. Or if you lack the skill set, you can outsource it to a company like ours, EVERNET. Or there's even I don't know. Have you ever heard of Fiverr?
Yes, sure.
Fiverr is a cloud. It's like a Uber style kind of app or website kind of venue where you can hire people for as little as $5 per task, so if you lack the skill to explore digital selling, like there's a lot of channels to do it. And it's not something that
one, Upwork's one. There's a few of those that are out there. So you can search through. People will post like pre-made job descriptions or particular task. They'll say, well, we'll handle your, create this many pieces of content for this amount of money. And then maybe you can buy them on buy that package on a contract basis, or, you can kind of go back to them as a one-off. But a lot of those do lead to longer term engagements and things like that.
Totally. Yeah. And it quite frankly, it leads to an education that a business owner, in my opinion, really needs today. So for what that's worth. I know I really do speak from on high, but I feel strongly about that.
Yeah. And it's, even if somebody's been on the platforms a long time, still the difference between being on and liking and sharing your own stuff on a personal level versus running content, managing it for a business is a totally different ball game. So if you want to try it yourself and get a feel for it, and then have a little greater respect of the time that it takes, because you think of social media as being, instant, and I can just share this or do this, but it runs away from you a little bit if you're not staying on top of it. Your next thing you look, it's been a few weeks since you've done a post, or you were gonna do this live, once a week, and then you miss a couple weeks, or so really having a set schedule or having somebody help you with that set schedule is critical.
Very true. Very true. I don't want to capitalize on the news cycle. What else? Do you have anything that?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone down the road of the metaverse a couple times here, but I had flipped over a video that was pretty good. That was from the Wall Street Journal. It was about investors buying up metaverse real estate in a virtual land boom, which I thought was interesting. And I've tried to come at that as objectively as possible and try to figure out what's going on. I mean, from an investment standpoint, if a client came to me, I would say, like any sort of trial investment, just start low and expect to lose it all if you want to go down that path. But it's probably a little bit. I mean, listen, people who happen to do okay with it early on, and it's probably going to be more luck than skill, to be honest with you. But I think it's probably in the pre-first wave, if you will. I think there's still a lot of dust that needs to be settled, and you're buying real estate in these worlds, but you don't know how popular these worlds are going to be. You don't know yet who the winners are going to be, right?
So just for the viewer or listener, you're talking about an article from the Wall Street Journal, headline: investors buy up metaverse real estate in virtual land boom. I mean, how 2022 is that,
Right, I know.
So you're saying that well, let's all agree that the term metaverse essentially means the digital world. I stopped short of saying virtual reality, but effectively virtual reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, according to this article, investors are spending their money to buy digital real estate in a virtual land boom. That's fascinating. What do you think?
Yeah, so you have these lands, so to speak, and they have when you initially go in, you're ported, I guess is the right word, into a spot, which is picture like a Times Square or something like that. So that's going to be your hub. So people are buying this real estate closer to where people essentially start, or the center of these universes, and they're buying it because they can attract, same reason you would buy a retail building or something. You're going to be able to attract the Nike store, or I don't know, Louis Vuitton or whatever, to sell digital virtual products to the avatars that are visiting that space so that they can have the latest sneakers and handbags. Or you're buying it so you could put a museum in there and display your NFTs, right. Or you're buying it because you're who the heck knows, you're buying it just because you feel that it can't be replicated anywhere else. You feel that just like Times Square, there is no substitute for Times Square, so that's kind of the model that I guess they're looking for.
Cut you off. Yeah, I mean, so this is fascinating to me because, I don't want to catch you. I don't want to quiz you on a surprise quiz, but what makes if I were to ask you what makes something valuable, what would you say? What's the answer to what makes something valuable?
Right. So it's especially in real estate, it's a scarcity, right? I mean, there's no way you can add more land between, Boston and Miami or whatever, but, right. Coastal land. They try putting all those houses on pillars and stuff, but
right.
So that's my concern with these virtual lands is, they say they're capped at a certain number of acreage or squares or whatever, if you will, but okay, so the blockchain is going to decide that, but
so that's the
problem.
So you just invoked the next buzzword. You mentioned NFT, metaverse, right? So with blockchain technology, for the viewers and listeners, what makes blockchain currency valuable is from the time that it is developed, it has a built-in scarcity to it. They know how many Bitcoin will ever exist, ever, and no more will be created after that. So therefore, the scarcity is built into that blockchain currency. I can't speak for all the blockchain currencies out there. I'm pretty sure that's one of the key features of blockchain currencies is the scarcity. So I can only guess the metaverse real estate virtual land boom. I don't want to get too technical, but is it a program? Is it a game? I know there are different games. They call Fortnite video game a metaverse in and of itself. So are these different applications, different metaverses? I can tell you that in 2003, 2004, there was a video game called Second Life that was supposed to take this whole metaverse and second world concept, take us to that kind of virtual reality, so to speak, and that just turned out to be a game. And I remember that Coca-Cola and big brands were all actually buying up real estate in that game. So, I think it's funny. I think virtual land booms have proven that they're not a flash in the pan. The marketers and the companies that have a financial interest in getting their products in front of eyeballs have proven that they'll go where the eyeballs are. But I think it's fascinating. It's I know that typically, everybody knows, anybody who's seen a notepad file on their desktop or a folder or a photograph on their computer, and they just right click and say copy and then right click and say paste, you've just duplicated something. So, the digital can be easily replicated. So that built-in scarcity, I think, is going to be a key feature for a virtual land boom. But I just didn't, it's so funny. When I saw that, I was like, oh man, this it couldn't be any more 2022.
I know, very much so. Yeah. I mean, that's the number of Bitcoins I think is capped at around 21 million, something like that, where they can, that's the number that when they get all the Bitcoins, that's it. But there's nothing stopping other people from creating coins, right? I mean, anybody can create a coin and then put a number, a limit on that. So that's
You mean competing currency?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
they are doing that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
There, I don't know if there's dozens or hundreds or thousands now, but there's a lot of digital competing currencies.
Yeah. I mean, GameStop said that they're going to come up with their own. I'm sure that Facebook will come up with theirs, and Amazon and Google, and I don't know. We'll see how it all shakes out. But
the government, I've read that the governments, China and even the United States, are exploring their own versions of digital currency. So
right. And as we've said, most of what we do is digital anyway. I mean, 95% of the economy is just transacted through ledgers anyway. It's just a matter of moving the last 5, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I don't want to speak out of school, but my understanding of the United States financial system has a antiquated and intentionally kept clearing system. So again, I'm way talking out of school, so if you can fill in the gaps here, I'm pretty sure that if you go even to Europe, Asia, Korea, South Korea, when you spend your money, if you spend your money on a credit card or whatever, you look at your app, you look at your bank, you look at the agency that helped you transact that money. It's just updated. As soon as the merchant takes your money and you take their good and you leave the store, your bank account's updated. In the United States, you have this ridiculous kind of 1 to 3 day clearing window. I use the Mint app. I don't know if you know about Mint or not, but a Mint is a really cool and free app owned by Intuit, the makers of the popular QuickBooks and the former owner of Quicken. They sold Quicken a bunch of years ago to a private equity firm that maintains it now. But Mint is a finance aggregator that you can put all your accounts in, and you can see kind of all of your account activity in one place. It's a great finance management tool. But what's so annoying is every time I spend something on it and I look, the transactions are kind of in hold, and you can't yet like categorize them and kind of like triage them because there's this ridiculous clearing period. Are you familiar as to why that is, or anything about
Yeah, it
that?
just has to do with settlements. It's just there's just so many layers of middlemen and everything that has to clear these transactions. So,
but there's like I've read about this. There's like a financial interest as to why that exists in the United States. Like apparently, the timing of holding people's money for even if it's like seconds and like it's billions of dollars of revenue apparently, and to some, whether it's the bank or it's not the merchants, it's got to be the banks or the central banks or something, that even holding the money in some, because the interest earned or something, $1 trillion a day amounts to, I don't know, millions or billions, I don't know, something to that effect.
Yeah, it all has to do. You want to keep it overnight, right? That's the overnight clearing. That was, if you go back, that was the original PayPal model, right? Everything was going to be free for everybody to use, but it was going to take, I think when originally it was like 7 to 10 days, and that was their whole model, is that you were going to buy something, they were going to keep the money for 10 days, get interest on it, and then pay the person that you bought
There
it
you
from,
go.
and that's how they
There
were
you
going to
go.
make their money. So it was that whole idea of float, that they're
Float,
floating it
right.
for that period of time.
It
So
it's an obnoxious speed bump that I think is going to be one of the big impeti. What's the plural of impetus?
I don't know.
The motivators to change. That's the sort of thing that, like, if you're just needlessly cumbersome,
Mhm.
it's just a matter of time before a better way just materializes.
Right.
Me and my wife always laugh about this whole concept of, the when you go out to dinner, you go out to eat, this whole process where you ask for the check, they walk over, they give you the check, they leave, you review the check, you put a payment method in on the account, on the table, they come back, collect your card, leave out of sight with your credit card, you do the transaction, and then they return with your car. Like, that whole process is just ridiculous. I've also read that that's uniquely American. Like, the Europeans and Asia, like, the notion of, like, somebody walking away from your credit card is completely unacceptable. So, and we go to Montreal, before pre-COVID, we go to Montreal quite a bit, and that's very kind of European feeling. So when you go out to dinner there, no matter where you are, they come with a mobile credit card machine, so they transact you right there at the table. So, anyways, didn't mean to go on a tangent, but
No, that's the good one. You see some places are putting in the readers right on the table or whatever. It makes sense. I
the
guess it
QR
depends on the
codes and
business model, though. A lot of that is done intentionally because their margins happen later in the dinner, right? The drinks and desserts. That's where all the, they're charging you 5, 6, I don't know, $10 for a slice of cake. That's where so they're trying to extend that dinner, I guess, in some scenarios. So maybe that's what they're trying to do there.
I don't know. I would argue that it's businesses are so afraid of, um, people in general don't like change. So when businesses are so afraid of change, they don't want to introduce change to their customer base because they're afraid of a negative response. So, in my opinion, I think, because by then you're asking for your check, you're kind of done, right? You're kind of done with the service. You've already had the cake. You've already had, the agent of the business has already had the opportunity to upsell you. So by the time you're like, I'll take the check, I'm now ready. I mean, the sale opportunity is more or less ready, like, closed. I
Yeah.
just think that process is, and I've asked a couple restaurant owners and managers, I'm like, why do you guys still do this process? And they're like, well, it's kind of part of the service. I've got that as an
The
answer, and
experience.
the experience, and we don't want to upset the customers. The customers are used to this kind of exchange in this process.
Mhm.
I think it's one of, that COVID has shown that that's one of the processes that can kind of be replaced with technology and improvements. I don't know, have you ever done a menu with a QR code and payment with
Yeah.
a QR code we just went to brunch yesterday, and the bill had a QR code on it. It said, I think it was Toast was the vendor that they were using. And I was like, let me try it. And I QR code on the invoice, or the bill rather, and paid it and tipped him in 2 seconds. He actually came over and was like, is this ready for me to pick up and process? I'm like, oh, I paid it online. And he kind of looked at me surprised. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, and
don't
that's
get me.
probably the cleanest way to do it. If you have a mechanical reader at every table, or if you have, the waiters and waitresses carrying around some sort of mechanism, that's an extra device that's going to need updates and security issues and all that kind of stuff. So QR code probably is the way to go.
I'm a fan of the QR code at the restaurants, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
I still would prefer a paper menu though, versus looking at it on the phone.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that either. I think a tactile menu is kind of a nice experience for
Mhm.
sure. something that could be built into the process. Would you like a menu for your table, sir? As you sit down, yeah, I'll appreciate a menu.
You know what I really like that's way off topic is when you go in those diners and they have the placemats with all the ads sold around the outside. I love those things. I don't know why. I'm just fascinated by those.
That's so funny.
I
It's
love
so
being out
tacky, but
somewhere you're not familiar with and just looking at, Joe's Auto Repair, call this number for whatever. Like you're going to see it on the diner menu and be like, you know what? I do need a new transmission. So I think I love those things.
Yeah, if it keeps a good venue going, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So there was one more article I wanted to touch on. I know we're at 53 minutes or so. Dare I mention one more?
Oh yeah, sure. Do it.
So kind of tied into the cryptocurrency. Have you ever heard of Norton antivirus?
Yeah, sure.
Anybody who's used a computer, I suppose, in the last 25 years has heard of Norton at some point along the way. Norton was kind of a necessary evil that everybody would buy with their computer. It's an antivirus. So the article that I pinned is from PC Gamer, although most of the tech venues have reported on it. But apparently, Norton has this headline from PC Gamer is clickbaity, and I'm not a fan of it. The headline says Norton installs an Ethereum crypto miner with its 360 security suite. And one of the venues, theverge.com, reported on this because they were taking issue with all of the other clickbaity headlines about this. The reality is it actually doesn't install it. The miner comes with the software, and it is very clearly optional for the user of the Norton software to turn on crypto mining on their computer. So the idea is for those who are still kind of shaky on what cryptocurrency is, it's a decentralized currency that people can exchange goods and services for the digital currency. And the way the system works is it's an open ledger that when somebody transacts with the currency, everybody can see that transaction, and everybody's role on the ledger starts anonymously anyways. And the way that the system works is you have miners, miner, miners, like coal miners, or the concept of mining something. And these are basically computers that manage and process the transactions for the ledger. And the incentive for the miners is every successful transaction they process for the ledger, they get a small amount of the currency that they're mining or processing for the ledger. A lot of computers out there kind of sitting idle. What if we gave an opportunity, to our users to turn their computer's idle time into a crypto miner and make a little bit of money? And at the same time, because they're providing the functionality and they're facilitating this, they will get a piece of the profit that you're earning with their software. In concept, I think it's absolutely fascinating. I think it's an absolutely awesome way for normals to be introduced to cryptocurrency and how it works, and even try their hand in it. I found this completely fascinating. All the headlines about Norton being having malicious intent or somehow hiding the software or the functionality in the software, that's all false. That's all clickbait. It's very clear in that it says it's off by default, so it's opt-in. The user has to opt in. And it's very above board. Ethereum is one of the premier cryptocurrencies. That I think, from what I can tell, Ethereum is kind of the head-to-head competitor to Bitcoin, and there's some advantages to the Ethereum cryptocurrency. So, what do you think?
Well, I thought it was interesting when I first when I first clicked on it, it was, following the headlines, like you said, kind of clickbaity. I thought they were putting it on people without their knowledge, and then using their computer to mine it for themselves. But that's
Right.
not the case. It does have to be turned on. And the other, the computer does have to be powerful enough to make it worthwhile. The last thing they want to be doing
Right.
is running it on an old computer, and because there still is electricity charges and all things, things like that. So so you have to make sure it's profitable. I don't know to what extent they, that's probably above my head, but how
So
they.
The Verge did the analysis.
Okay.
The Verge.com, and I didn't pin that article, and I regret not pinning that exact article, but The Verge did the analysis. Is this profitable for the user of the Norton software? I'll just cut to the chase. It was a break even.
Mhm.
Based on the increased power consumption and the currency that they were able to mine in some given period. I don't know if they ran it for a month or some period of time. Norton fared quite well on the transaction, and that was one of the kind of cons, is that Norton profited all on every transaction, so to speak, whereas the user just broke even. So based on the power consumption at a given rate of power, the user typically would break even. But that's such a variable environment. You could be, if you have solar on your house, if you have some really inexpensive power consumption, and frankly, the value of the currency fluctuates so widely that who knows if the break even today is not a easy way to start an investment vehicle for the long term.
Right. And that was my first reaction too, is it depends on where Ethereum is trading, right? And it may be profitable for you now, but how do you calculate that break even? Is it at the time that it's mined, or a month, or whatever? So you just don't know. Could turn out to be profitable later on. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if you're just regular normal, as you would say, what the competition is there. So is there another platform that you could download that wouldn't be Norton, that would have less fees than Norton, that would let you run it more profitable? And I know there are people obviously that mine from
I think
home.
that's a great question.
What is the other application that allows you to do that?
That's what kind of got piqued my interest, is that this is the first time I've seen something so pedestrian to get into cryptocurrency. Even as a technologist, I was a laggard to cryptocurrency. I didn't 2 years ago, I was like, what, this, I thought it was a scandal, a scam. Again, with the digital land boom, as we've talked about in the previous article, in my mind, I approached it as, anything created in the digital doesn't have scarcity to it. Once you understand that big cryptocurrency has built in scarcity to it, and then you start seeing the benefits of a decentralized currency, not under the control of a government that can just, all governments who control currency are the only entity allowed to counterfeit the currency, which is effectively making more currency. And when the U.S. Treasury asks the Federal Reserve to borrow more money, they're just manufacturing more dollars, making everyone in our pockets less valuable. That's literally how that works. It's not political. That is just basic economics. But when you see that a digital currency isn't exposed to that concept, it becomes really compelling once you see using digital currencies or something that we practically do every day. I mean, you buy on Amazon or whatever, you start to see like, oh wow, this might actually be an interesting technology. So seeing Norton say, hey, we'll just help you get into the game, and it's just felt very pedestrian. And so I wouldn't be surprised if other software packages said, yeah, I mean, the nature of our software is to run on computers all the time, and let's just use that slack computing time to do a benefit. And I just thought that was really fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. Um, the part of the crypto that I haven't quite wrapped my head around too is you've already got these big data centers run by Amazon, Microsoft, whoever. Why aren't they leading the charge on that? Because you watch these YouTube videos of somebody who's got 13 servers in their basement, or they've got a shed out back with a couple of solar panels on it so they can mine some crypto. And it's like, well, why isn't Amazon or Microsoft, with the most powerful computing hardware in the world, doing this?
That's a good question too. I'm not sure they're not.
Yeah, maybe they are.
If there's I'm sure they're balancing just in time resource management. So, the AWS and the Microsoft Azure, the Google's hosting platform, those banks of servers that they now lease to users to run their computers and services. They may be doing, they may be running there's it's all about compute time. If the East Coast wakes up and everybody logs into their hosted workspace on Amazon, Google, Microsoft, there's a peak usage of compute time on, maybe their East Coast data center. But what are they doing with that utilization in the middle of the night? I don't know if we don't know if they're not exploring crypto mining. I don't know if they would have to publicly and make that public in their SEC filings or their quarterly filings or not. I'm not, but maybe they'll get into it. I mean, it's a good point. You make a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not profitable for you or me to rent cloud space and do it. I'm sure that whatever you'd be able to mine wouldn't pay the fees. That's why people are building their own hardware at
Right.
their home
Right.
location. So
Yeah, there's a whole industry that sprung up that and I sound like a total fanboy, and I'm really not, but the picture is becoming clearer to me kind of every month and every quarter, as cryptocurrency is not going away. And I do see some of the benefits, but I'm not a fanboy. I'm not saying I'm not saying pivot all your investments into crypto, because that's not my position. But it's just the picture is becoming clearer. So I just see it and it's not going away. I think that's for certain. There's an industry that's kind of built up around purpose built computers that you can buy, that you just plug them into the internet, you turn them on, and some easy slight modification, and they just start cranking this digital ledger and sending you the proceeds to your what's called your digital wallet. And I think at this point it comes down to inexpensive energy. It just takes energy to just do all those math calculations. And one of the YouTubers that I watch is he does a lot of things about solar and battery, and he does just review after review of solar panels and battery systems. And he's made passing references to, he's got property in some cold region of the United States or lower Canada, and he's got apparently a massive solar array that he was able to bootstrap, and he just runs crypto miners at this location that's nondescript location, and he says he does it very profitably. And I thought that was fascinating.
yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff.
Rant over.
All right, so we're at 56 minutes. That's another solid one in the books.
Yeah, that's a pretty good show. Again, just to let the viewers at home know that we do the basis of the show is just talk finance and technology. We use flipboard.com as a news aggregator. We pin articles there that we might find interesting to just chat about. Otherwise, this is our show and we talk about whatever we want. And I always like to use the expression, we're running with scissors here to see where it goes.
Yeah, right. So this is what, episode 5 or 6, I guess. We've done so many I lose count, but
right.
But yeah, we have projected as 10 episodes is going to be the number where we iron out all the kinks and then start to promote it a little bit more. So
I'm feeling pretty good about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, every week gets a little bit better. We'll get the time nailed down. We'll get the technology a little better. Maybe we'll get some better cameras, some, A+ lighting, that's that kind of stuff, some better production. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty good.
you're our editor, so you're
Mhm.
kind of dialing in the post editing and publishing process, and that's getting easier for you, right?
Yeah, it is. Yep. First, we take the audio and we upload that to the podcast, and we don't do any edits there. We don't have anything to really cut out. So usually that goes up pretty quickly. And we're trying to do the YouTube live. We'll see how that comes out, but that's more efficient for us because then we don't have to upload a file later. And
Right,
Monday's a big day for uploading files to YouTube. So that can take, to upload an hour-long file to YouTube can take a while. So
right,
so
right.
if we do it live, it's just in there. So that's the reason we do that. And that's been pretty much it.
Cool. All right. Well, I don't know if what our outro is yet. Do we have an outro?
I don't think
Where do
we
we
have a set outro. No.
where do people find you if they want finance help, 401k help?
Yeah, so it's Brian Williams, Northshire Consulting, which is an investment advisory firm in Connecticut. We work with small businesses on their 401k plans and individuals on their household financial planning. Our online presence is 401k and beyond. So that's the name of our Facebook group and our YouTube channel and Instagram, although we don't do a lot there yet. But so that's where you can find us. And then the company page is northshireconsulting.com.
Excellent.
And
And
that's it for me.
my company's EVERNET Consulting. You can find us at evernetco.com. And we are an IT company managing the IT function for businesses all over the country. So if you have a business that you outsource your IT function to and need anything from high level consulting, planning, software integration, data integration, or help desk services, that's what we provide our clients. So that's evernetco.com.
All right. Sounds good. So we'll see you next week.
All right, Brian, have a great week.